Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm gonna just gather the troops. Guys, Jeff is on the screen.
Cool. I see a wire right in the middle. Is that?
I will do that.
Oh, I don't care if that. Just I want to make sure it wasn't like something like not connected.
Okay. Let me just make sure.
What's going on, everybody?
Okay. So we just gotta move in more.
Oh, there he is.
All right. So let me real quick when I downloaded the worksheets you guys sent me, obviously there's no name on them, so I've got to either map them to the. Do you guys have your worksheets in front of you? Make it a lot easier for me then. Whoever sent me a worksheet, just so I can figure out which one's which.
And Jeff, can we make sure we're recording this?
It is. Yep, we're recording. Totally. You guys are live. So whoever put let's see. Top left-hand corner, or actually on Friday, none of my patio furniture was lost due to winds.
That's me.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
That was me, Mark.
Oh, Mark. Okay. Sorry. And I appreciate it just on when I print them out so I have them in front of me all at the same time versus trying to look at 10 screens. So it's just easier. There's no name on them when I print them. So looking at the other one. So who's top of the chart, focus on follow-up and moving over line?
Me, Desmond.
Who, Des?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. And last one I got a few others that I've already labeled. Right-hand side, $835,000 firm deal.
That was me.
I can't see it. Oh, I got you. Thank you. Thanks, Cleta. All right, cool. I'm good to go. So since we're in group format, obviously, let me make this picture larger so I can see you differently. There we go. All right. How has the past week been in general? Actually, we got a new person here that I've not met.
Devin.
Hey, Devin.
Hi.
You've been either really busy or I just been missing you.
Yeah, I was busy doing nothing in California.
Doing nothing? Good for you.
Oh.
I wish it was me. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. Good for you. Well, welcome back. I saw some decent activity, at least from some this week. Would you say things in the past week or two have been pretty active, or has there been some challenges in general? No particular order. I'll go over you guys individually, but in general.
I'm over here, by the way. I just don't want
What's up, Coach? It's okay. Who wrote some deals this past week? Right? Good. So is the market still remaining somewhat consistent, or has there been some lull still that you're finding?
Sorry, I just cut you off.
That's all right. Consistency in some of the market, the activity, or has it been
the market's extremely hot right now. It's still
right.
the middle of the market, so it's probably the most active the market will ever be in the year.
Good. That's kind of what I felt, but I wanted to make sure I was hearing it from you guys. So I think I see a common thread with all of our activity sheets and stuff like that. Common thread is still the challenge of prospecting, whether it be the feeling that we didn't do a good job at it, the feeling that we didn't do enough of it, the feeling that it's just a stumbling block. And, remember the whole point of all this activity stuff is, yeah, you got to do deals. Yes, you got to take care of your clients. You got to show homes. But it's, besides what's coming inbound, where can I cultivate my own? Where do I get my own stuff from? Where do I get my own lead sources from so that I can have my own plus what comes into the site or to the team or however that is? The majority should start to become more of what you can cultivate, and the team stuff also becomes bonus. So looking at what seems to be the challenge with our prospecting? Why is it either inconsistent or a challenge of not doing it well?
Because I don't want to do it.
Who said that?
Cody.
Yep. You don't want to do it. Yep. So here's what we have to look at. And it's perfectly understandable to say not everyone is up for loving prospecting, except the number one thing that's going to drive our revenue towards our goals is finding new people. So it's one of those pain points that we don't like to do, not good at it. And, I'll have a chat with Amy about this as well, is what do we do? And maybe there's some of you that are not going to be cultivators or rainmakers of the team. Maybe your priorities can be focused towards something more productive too. However, if you're doing 2 deals a month and you really want 4, they're going to come from someplace. So it's a matter of how much do you really want to hit your numbers or not. It's pretty simple. Whether you're going to hit the number you want or exceed is going to come from the amount of activity you have finding new people. So not wanting to do it, perfectly honest. I appreciate the honesty. So are you okay with if you don't hit your $300,000 or $400,000 goal?
No.
Okay, so which would you rather deal with? Not hitting the number or not prospecting is the option? Which one's more painful?
I don't like your question very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, obviously not hitting my goal is a bit more of a pain.
Right. What else is a pain point? And I'm asking you guys, all of you, what else is a pain point in your business you don't like to do?
That's literally it.
That's literally it. Just
Me personally, that's literally the only thing I don't like doing.
So let me ask you, is there a different way to find people than the way you're doing it now that you might like or not be so bad?
I'm sure there are, for sure.
Let's think about it. Let's talk about them now. So everyone else that's listening to this, what other ways besides, like, how are you prospecting now theoretically that you're not doing and you don't like? What don't you like?
Just calling people.
Right. And we had partially this conversation a little bit too. I'm not good on the phone either, right? So what else are you doing then? Because prospecting, the word, I don't even like the word. It's a crap word. It's just, how do I find more people? Because more people lead to more people that potentially live in, own, or rent homes that know more people. So where else do you go find people to talk to on a daily basis? That's the goal. I don't care how we do it. What's the most comfortable way for you to do it right now?
To find new people, would probably be open houses. They're hit or miss. It's just the
Okay.
activity done though. I understand that. I've just been busy with current business on the weekends, which
Yep.
is a priority because they're engaged buyer clients who want to go look at properties between 2 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday.
Yep.
I have to focus my time on that right now. And I'm afraid because as my A buyer list shortens and I haven't done these activities, I know I'm going to hit a dry spell coming up probably the next month.
Okay. So, the open house and stuff is rainmaking stuff. Hit and miss. Yes. It's an opportunity. If I said right now, 1 hour after we're done at 1 o'clock, 1:15, whenever we're done, 1 hour after that, you have to go find people to talk to and be part of a network somewhere. Where would you go?
I don't know.
I'll give you $5,000 to go find new people. Where are they? Would you find them now?
Yeah.
Right. So your next deal is out there. It's just a matter of what's going to motivate you to go do it. So the question is we may not know, but look, you guys are typically, for the most part, much younger than the average industry at all. So you guys should have much more networking sphere of social everywhere. You guys have the ability, the little bit more availability than most in the industry to go find networks of people to talk to. Where are they eating their lunch? Where are they drinking their coffee? Where can you be where you're in front of more people, shaking hands and smiling and, hey, I'm with the North Group. We're always looking for people looking to buy and sell homes. We're looking for investors in properties. Where can you go in your market that you can do that? You know that better than I. I can't tell you where that is. All of you, where would you go?
Always fearful to answer that. Fear of looking like foolish, like going, I don't know.
Okay, so not like on purpose. I'm talking with intent. With intent. So let me give you a good example. Let me shut my door. I'll tell you a little secret. I don't want people out there to hear because I connect to a real estate office too. They probably still can hear me. I don't care. So I do some coaching of kids, right? I coach 3rd and 4th grade lacrosse. I do it because I enjoy doing it. However, if I was in selling real estate, there's a group of people there that is probably 20, 40 parents deep. I could be talking to and marketing with and just connecting with, hey, just in case you guys are looking for a real estate agent, I could do that. So I decided one of them convinced me to join a moose lodge. You guys have a moose lodge up by you? The moose or like the elks type thing? No? Any idea what it even is before?
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Right. So what happened was I joined this moose, and what just happened this past week is I got an email that said, hey, looking for any advertisers for their little brochure thing for their. So I said to my wife, hey, you want to sponsor as a brokerage? Here, it's like $100. Go sponsor it. Before she could even send the ad in, the guy actually said, hey, I appreciate you spending some money. I've got a friend of mine that's already pre-approved for a loan, and he needs to find homes and doesn't have a realtor. Can I give him to you? Like that quick. Like she said, it was worth $100 just to like it was just because he felt like he was just going to return the favor. It's just out of the blue. And she handed it off to one of her top agents to go do that. Without being part of those groups, you're never going to have those people. You know, I don't go there on purpose for leads. However, it's a huge group of people that all live locally in the area. So you got to go find them. That's kind of the core of a lot of this. If you don't like being on the phone, then you got to be good in person, which most of you are. So it's where do you find them? It could be I hate to say it could be your bars and restaurants, but it could be a place you join on purpose to be involved more. Not that you have more time, it's part of the business. So that lead came in out of the blue, unexpected. And that's just the beginning of like week 2 of it. That's not from advertising. That wasn't from anything. That was just because I got to do, I made a contribution of $100, gonna put an ad in something. And he was like really responsive, like, hey, by the way, I got a guy. So those things will happen much more often when you get yourself out there more. So we've got to find those. That really seems our challenge because does anybody really love the phone? I mean, not saying you shouldn't. No one really loves the phone. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say you should avoid the phone because you have to really still call people. But why don't you find something you like? Find something that's not as painful to go meet more people. And it's not instant business. It's not lead gen like I got a lead come in. But it's part of what's going to build your business way beyond what you're doing now. It's the only thing that's going to move the needle. The only thing. Because inbound stuff is good. That's why you have a team. You've got the support of the team, the resources of the team, the leads from the team. But the only thing that's you can move the needle on is what you add to the team for your own revenue sake. Only thing that's going to move it is you. So I don't have to sit here and do some rah-rah stuff on it. It's just that's going to be the detail. The question is who's going to step up and go do it and who's not. You're going to either hit your numbers or you're not. You all can do it. You guys are all that vibrant, motivated group. It's just I think you haven't done that before, so it's uncomfortable. I get it, but if it's less comfortable than picking up the phone, go do that. Find something that works for you. Okay, and we have to keep bringing this up because it's not going to change until we go do. Or I'm just going to challenge one of you to go out and do it. And if I challenge you, some of you are going to take it because I'm going to just break your chops until you do. Right? I know how to motivate some of you. So. Like I said, it's just a matter of dollars, right? $5,000, you're going to go out and talk to people. But you have to look at it. That's where your next paychecks come from, by you cultivating. The team is a huge powerhouse to do that for you on behalf, but it's only a part of what you're doing. So does anybody want to go over some of these, a little bit more detail? Because what I want to know is wins and losses. I don't want the details of every little thing. I want to know where you won, what you lost, and I want to know why, and I want to fix it. Can we do that? I'd rather you guys talk a little bit more than me. So whoever wants to go first. I mean, do you have yours in front of you? I got Kalita's, I got Des. So pick yours. Tell me your wins and losses, because I think what's going to happen is your win and your loss is going to be similar to someone else's win and loss in this group. We just haven't had the chance to compare notes yet.
Yeah. Okay. So for the loss definitely was what we just talked about. Like I really just focused on again this week. It really was. Like I wrote on the top, focus on the A's, get them over the line. Really was my focus this week, the follow-up kind of portion. which in itself too also generated some new activity as well, right? So it's like, I don't know, by doing those activities, it kind of generated some leads kind of on the back door thing. Like we just talked about that networking. Baseball just started last night.
Okay.
And stuff. They've been following it. Like, hey, that's all they wanted to talk about all night. I'm like, I was almost sick of it. I'm like, okay, enough. You know, but I think led to one thing, you know, the conversation. Hey, let's get together and talk about it. For sure, let's do that, right? So.
How did the word real estate even come up? You're at baseball, right? How did it come up?
They just know. They know that's what I was doing. It's been on the team for probably about 2-3 years now. So they were, you know, they've watched the transition over, and then they've seen like the successes on Insta Story, the different things that kind of posted. And so they're just like, you know, it gets them excited. Like, I mean, I'm sick of most of them, but everyone still loves them. Like, oh, I love that house you're in. It's so cool. Like, I love watching and seeing all these cool like walkthroughs. I mean, I guess for us, we do it every day, so it's like, wow, I feel like I'm boring people, but that's what they're craving, right? They want that exposure.
Like what you're commenting on there the other day. Oh yeah, you're like up in your Instagram game.
Yeah, people watch. Exactly. People do watch, and it just creates that thing, right? And at the same time, on a loss for that is a guy that talked to me last fall about it. Said, oh yeah, we'll call you when we're kind of transitioning ready for it. In the off season, just I heard at the corner of my ear, like, oh, they bought a house. I'm like, what? I thought we were tight, like, you know. So it's just, you know, I mean, and I think too, like you can take, you know, I just let it roll because I mean, it's not just an opportunity. Even if you're on top of them, I realize sometimes they'll still somehow slip through the crack. And so sometimes just right moment, right time for someone else, they transact. So, you know, that was a bit of a loss. At the same time, I'm like, okay, I've got 20 other people on this team. Just people they stay on it, right?
Yeah, I think it comes down to sometimes, and I hate to say it this way, but a lot of people aren't loyal to you until we've created loyalty. Like we think they're loyal, but we haven't really created it. We haven't gone through a transaction before where they really get to know me and love me and like me for all the stuff I've done. They're loyal to some extent, but the second is they're always looking out for them. And that's part of our biz. It's not a fun part I like, but it is a big part that we sometimes lose sight of because that stinks to hear they bought something. But the group you said you're at was it baseball you said you were at?
Yeah, softball.
Softball for your own, like a men's league or a?
Yeah, cool. Sunday nights.
So your own age group thing. Okay. So it wasn't okay. So, yeah. So let me ask you this. If you didn't do Insta stories, would they not know much about what you're doing? Is that where they're getting most of their tracking of what you're up to?
Yeah, most likely, yeah. Like I'm not actively like, hey, what are you guys doing today? Let's play baseball. Hey, you want to buy a house on Sunday?
Right. So you almost don't have to advertise that you're in the business because they've been following you on Insta story. So the validation of the social platform they're paying attention to. So if you know they're paying attention to it, how do you grow that audience?
Well, I think even on that one I lost on, I think that was more, even if I wasn't proactive, I knew he was watching the stories. And I was actually a little bit surprised because we were pretty tight. So for, like I said, it was just really weird. He kind of, it must have been just a great opportunity moment. Who knows what, I didn't get the story out of him. I was follow up with him to see. In a casual way, but I think had my post been a little bit more than just, hey, look at this house, hey, look at what just sold, maybe some informative stuff in between, like, hey, percent buys, this is how you move the market. So a little more content that's viable might have been a greater hook to a little more engagement rather than just being able to passively flip through, right?
Yeah. So here's another thought too, is when someone gives you that, hey, we're going to follow up in the fall, or we're going to start prepping our home for this. Yeah. You have a better chance of getting that because you're going to lose track of when that really means. They're going to say that, but we don't really know when that means. You know, they see a house in the online or somewhere else on an ad, and all of a sudden they're ready sooner than later. So the second you hear that, you've got to find a reason to get an appointment with them pre-stage, meaning, hey, you know what? That's awesome. You're getting your stuff together for the fall. I know there's a lot of work to get stuff together, but you know what? There's a lot that goes into a real estate transaction. Do me a favor. Let's meet up sooner than later, just so I can start making sure that the things you're prepping for and doing are going on the right path, because there's some mistakes I would never want you to make before you get ready to buy or sell. Let's just have a quick preliminary meeting. Show me what you're thinking. And then from there, take the time you need. You want to get them in front so you can really hear what they're doing, what their plan is, get them to sit with you, because then they almost feel obligated that you're in front of them. But you've got to give them a reason to why would they meet with you. So, you know, is a lot of potential buyers or sellers make a lot of mistakes in the prep. We watch it all the time. I wouldn't want you to spend money or do things that aren't going to help you with the process. let's just get together for a few minutes. Go over, tell me your game plan. Let's see if you're on the right path, and then take the time you need. Give them that. Take the time you need, so they know they're not being pressured into anything. But you get the quick 20-minute appointment, 30-minute appointment, and then you'll hear the real story. Once you're there, they're going to start giving you the whole scoop. I think it is preliminarily to do that, but I think you'll lock more people into commitment to work with you.
That's great.
Because it's an easy brush up. Okay, yeah, we'll follow up with you in the fall. When? When does that really mean? Then you find out they bought something. So we got to do our job in really giving them that, let me help you in the pre-stages. We do, and you set them up with kind of that couched response is, we find a lot of people make a lot of mistakes in prep, getting ready to buy or sell, when there's a lot of things you could be doing now to actually help you make more money. Really, what would that be? Let me spend a few minutes with you just to help you prep your stuff, and then you guys take all the time you need to get ready. It's that setup. Right? See how we say it? Right? Sounds okay that way, right? So good on that. So I'm glad to see that Insta Stories is actually a working tool for you right now. And it's something consistently needs to expand upon. Is there a way you can build that audience though with that? Is there a way to build the audience?
Yeah, I think it's kind of organic, right? I mean, it just, as you post and provide great content, I think it just kind of catches on, right? So one thing I try and do is geotag. So whenever I have a great property at a great price point, highlight the features, geotag it, right? So that increases the local following in that kind of area. And then you get more viewers, and obviously throw the brand out more through the CRD as well. But just have just those subtle hints tailored in with that, and then the geotag.
Anybody else using Insta Stories at all? Just curious that they're getting attention to. Are you getting the same kind of attention, or just it's out there and you're not sure?
Yeah, people comment on it for sure.
Yeah. Is it specific to your life and or business, or both?
Business mainly. The people reach out, it's mainly closer friends who reach out when it's personal stuff.
Yep.
Like walking a dog or making dinner or whatever. But if you're real estate related, it's either industry professionals, so other agents, or people who are just engaged in your stories.
Okay.
For me, because I'm newer, but I think it's validating me and my successes to my personal sphere, who are probably sitting and waiting and watching kind of thing. And now they're much more comfortable to, if the time comes or their neighbor's thinking about selling, and those conversations are starting to come up. So I kind of use it as a validation resume that I am actually, in fact, doing a good job.
Sure. Remember, perception means everything. Yeah. You could literally have one home sold in your whole career, but the way you spin on that one home, the open house, the closing, that, it makes it look like you did so much more perception wise. So we have to understand is, how do we elaborate on perception? For those who have no inventory, or nothing to really work on, find those pieces so you can create those stories that shows the perception you're in this game. That's half the battle, is just creating that perception. People don't really know your day-to-day stuff. They don't know your production level or lack of production level. So those are the types of things that social gives you, is perception, and you could shape that to being a very busy real estate agent even when you're not super busy. You just got to literally do a good job creating the story. So that's really good feedback on Insta. All right, wins, losses. Who else? Give me some.
I went to a buyer consult where it was an interview style, where they're interviewing agents.
Okay.
I feel like I did extremely well. They reached out to me the next day. They're still finalizing their decision, but felt extremely confident in everything I did.
For buyer consult.
Correct.
Okay. What were some of the questions they were asking you from the buyer side? And I asked that because 4 or 5 other of us may be asked to go on a buyer consult, same interview.
Why are you going to try and negotiate us the best price when it means less money for you for your commission?
Good.
Obvious classic question.
Good.
How many homes have you sold in this neighborhood that we're looking at?
Interesting. Did that bite you in the rear there?
Nope. Because
Good.
they're looking in a broad location, and I just referenced all the sales that the team has made in the last 2 years.
Good. So you used we instead of I?
this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood. They asked me what like the majority of my business was. It was houses or condos, and I stretched the truth a little bit. I'm like 80-20, 80
Okay.
condos, 20 houses, and I said I'm about 60-40 condos. And I just said it was based on my demographic of who I am as an adult.
And that's not even a stretch because no one put a time frame on that question anyway.
Correct. Exactly.
Last month you could have been selling more townhomes than so no one put a time frame. So you're good.
Yeah, just like questions that I've never been asked before, but yeah, I felt quite confident in the way I handled it.
Do you know who else they were interviewing?
I asked them, and they didn't give me names.
Okay.
They said they weren't impressed with the first one that they'd interviewed, and I asked who they were. They're like, "Oh, we're still vetting out a few more, but they just kind of dodged the question. I didn't pry too much, just to."
So when they agree and commit to you, are you signing a buyer agency agreement with them?
For these guys, probably will. I've never done that before. It's not the kind of agent that I am, but these guys are obviously very, like open to working with anybody who will get them the best results. So this is probably one situation where, because they're vetting out agents and because they're so transparent about it, I'll probably vet them out. I told them at the end of the interview, I said, I appreciate you guys taking the time to meet with me. This is an opportunity for me to interview you as much as it is for you to interview me. I've turned down clients before. I haven't, but I said I've turned down clients before, that haven't been a good fit, and I want to make sure that you work well with me and I work well with you. I said I would be happy to move forward with you if you feel the opportunity works for you as well. And then when they say, yeah, we want to work with you, I'll just say, hey, fantastic. Let's meet up. I'll bring the representation paperwork, and we can start checking out.
Right. Absolutely.
I'll bring the representation paperwork on our first set of showings.
Right. Get your paperwork right there in front of them. You hired me. Fantastic. I'm thrilled. Let's get this resolved very quickly. And I'm your guy. That's how you roll with it. Since they're interviewing you, I'd absolutely sign a buyer. Now at least you have a commitment. Again, what's it really worth? They can always do something else, but it gives that more formal commitment. And remember, the referrals will build off of that.
The thing about these guys is, like, if my business was where I wanted it to be, if I was ahead of my goal right now, in all honesty, I probably would never call them back because they're ridiculous people, and I don't think I actually want to work with them. But because I'm behind my goal, my sanity is worth the money and the work ethic that's involved with it.
What's the price? What's the price point they're going to buy?
$1 million.
$1 million. So what's it worth?
Well, if it was at $400,000, I would probably turn it away. I wouldn't work with it.
Is it because they're unreasonable?
Very much so. And that's going to be the hardest challenge that I'm going to have to face, is setting their expectation very quickly. I did my best that I could in the consult. To use his words exactly, he's like, I want you to find me the finest champagne at the cheapest beer price. And we live in a city where the market, there is no cheap beer.
So is it safe to say they're going to take you to $1.7 million homes and one for $1 million?
No, I told them straight up. I said I'm going to vet out the properties because they're cash heavy people. Mom and dad can get involved if need be. So I know there's more flexibility on price. I know their comfort levels around the 9, but if they see something at the $1 million, they're going to be able to ask mom and dad for money. And because of offer presentation situations, I told them that they're going to have to, I set their expectation well, just in that I was like, you guys have to believe me. I'm not going to push you unrealistically, but I feel like you need to lean on me for my expertise and go with what you're comfortable with.
Right. And I have a feeling it's going to take 1 or 2 deals of things they want to fall apart to realize that they're playing too much of a fine game.
At least 2 offers before they start listening to me, and that's just the way that some people are.
Right.
I've had other people who will listen to me right out of the gate and it wins, and I've had other people who are just, they think they know everything, and it takes them losing a couple times to get it happen.
So is that worth what, 20 grand to you? What is it? Okay, so good. It's worth it. So
at this point in the year right now, where I am on my goal, yeah, for sure.
Good. Then
it was December and I was 30,000 above it. Shit, absolutely not. Merry Christmas.
Well, remember, we always have choices. It's a choice. The choice of I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to not. I don't know. Further along in my career too, would I make that choice? The answer is probably, it's hard to turn away 20, 25 grand. If it's real. if it comes out to be real. Yes, there's a learning curve, but you'll know in 6 or 8 months if it was real or not.
But then the other thing too is like if mom and dad have so much money and like, you know, these people are you know, they're buying in the high 9s or low millions. Like I told them my response to their commission question when they said, why were you going to try and save us $10,000 on the asking price when that means it's a loss for you? So I took out my calculator and I said, well, the standard commission in Toronto is 2.5%. I took out my calculator. I said, for every $10,000, that's a difference of $250 on my commission. So I said, if we look at it this way, if I save you $20,000, that makes me $500 extra. I said, you are going to be more ecstatic by saving 20 grand, me losing 500, and you're going to refer me out to your families, your friends, and this is a relationship business for me. So I would actually rather your referrals or introductions to friends than $500. That's how I handle it.
What'd they say to that?
They said, yeah, that makes sense. We appreciate the honesty.
Good. And, you know, commissions isn't my only motivation in this. It's making sure you get what you want so we can create that future business. I don't count dollars and pennies the way you see it sometimes. It's a lot of money. But my business is big picture and referral business. $500 to $1,000 or a couple thousand each way of what I've earned is not going to make or break my deal.
Right. And that's what I said. I said, this is a long-term play for me, and this is my full-time career. And I just told them, I'm like, I'm not looking to just hop from deal to deal and make quick money. This is a long-term. So,
gotcha.
felt like I handled it well.
Okay, what was your loss?
My loss, or just anybody? I had a disappointment, not necessarily a loss. I did 3 deals this week, and I almost did a 4th on Sunday. I probably should have pushed harder on the irrevocable. We submitted an offer on a place on Saturday around 4 o'clock. Agent told me that the seller was out of town until the following day at 1 o'clock. We went in, property was 30 days on market, $50,000 price drop. We went in within reason, just a home inspection clause, no finance. He insisted on a irrevocable the next day because the seller was inaccessible. Called him at 12:15 when the irrevocable was for 1, said, hey, how are we looking? Another offer had just come in that beat ours out, and they went with that one.
So what could you have done differently?
I would have put like a 9:30, 10 o'clock irrevocable. I would have strong-armed the agent into getting it done and said, hey, listen, we've got another property that we're writing on tomorrow. But I just took the benefit of the doubt. I didn't expect, because we were 30 days on market, that at the 11th hour another offer would come in.
Right.
On me. So.
Okay.
And my client also hesitated because we saw the property on Friday and he went back on Saturday to revisit it.
Yeah. So learning that even just changing that time to an earlier morning gives them a little more pressure and less time to think things through on that afternoon.
I mean, I insisted as much. Like I told him, I said, my client's insisting that we get it done today. He says, Cody, there is literally no way. One of the sellers is at his cottage up north. The wife's in town and I can barely get him on the phone. So
right. Okay.
He didn't have DocuSign. And I even offered, I said, I can even email it to your client to DocuSign it to them.
Right.
So.
All right. So
lack of technology shopping, yes, but it is what it is.
We learn for the next one so we don't, get burnt again per se.
I just wanted to do 4 deals in a week. That would have been cool.
That would have been good. Okay. Well, that's good. That's not a terrible, butt kicking other than the lack of prospecting, which is a big loss.
Correct.
Who else? Let's go. We got a whole bunch. Speak up awful quiet here.
I had the same situation as Des. I couldn't develop a one-on-one relationship with like a B buyer, but we were just, we texted a lot, emailed a lot. She would never pick up the phone. And I met her at one of my open houses from a listing earlier in the year. And I was just keeping in contact with her, and I texted her over March break just to see how things were going. And she said, oh my God, can you read minds? I was just refining my timeline in my search. And I was like, great, send me an email. Let me know what you're thinking. Nothing, crickets, couldn't get a hold of her, crickets, wouldn't pick up the phone. And then I finally called her yesterday and she was like, oh yeah, no, I bought a place. So it's kind of reflecting on, and I'm not upset because of we didn't establish loyalty. The only time I'd ever actually met her in person was at my open house when she came in by herself, unrepresented, to look at it. But yeah, it was just kind of one of those things. You kind of at least need to think hard about what I could have done differently, how I could have tried to get her in person. But you could tell she was uncomfortable with that. So.
Because I was going to just say, what could we have done a little bit different? So how long has this time frame of window been since you open house to?
January 15th to now.
Okay. So
She went to get pre-approved after I'd met her at my open house, and she got her legs cut out. She was down like 300K or less now all of a sudden with the new changes.
New changes, yeah. Yep.
So she was like, damn, it looks like I'm going to have to save up a little bit more, but maybe push this back to the summer. So I just kept checking. But yeah.
Does it make a difference in your financing from one lender to another?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's where you close her next time. Say, listen, yeah.
No, I was going to say if I could, in the meantime, suggest like Rack your mortgage savvy or connect her with a rockstar mortgage agent that supports Magic.
I would just say, listen, do yourself a favor. Something I always recommend to my clients, because you're looking out for her, is we always have them meet with a second mortgage professional, loan professional. There's always different options you may not have heard. And while you think you may have gotten cut $300,000, there may be a significant difference of what they had versus here. Let me set up just a meeting that's non-committal so you can have an understanding of where that potential is and where you might really be for your own knowledge. And then you set up that time, you connect and you meet with them together. Because honestly, a second opinion for that should have been something I threw at her.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, is that something that would work?
Yeah. I've suggested it to another client recently too. Actually, two more. And for some reason, I'm getting a lot of, it seems like a touchy thing when people are like, no, I have my own banker. I have a mortgage broker I deal with. No, but thank you. And I always paint it and like, it's just always good if you need a second opinion or, like, as you said, but these last two times, it's almost like people were like really put back by me trying to suggest something like that.
Everyone's got their person, I agree, but we've got to try and frame it in a way that gives them that without making it sound fearful, but fear. I would hate to see you lose a home you wanted over $100,000 difference that you might qualify for. You just don't know. You've got to paint that picture a little bit as, if a loan officer or mortgage professional we work with has a different program that can get you that extra $150,000 that you thought you lost, how much more home could we buy? You should at least know your options, and then you make the best decision. Like, still put the control back to her. But truthfully, even like as a personal matter, if that was my brother looking for I would absolutely say you need to talk to someone else and see the differences. You don't know what the weight of two different programs could be. So that would be a way I would have tried to maybe set up a meeting that was frictional, confrontational. But again, moving forward, you start to hear these things. These are ideas.
Yeah, what's interesting and what triggered something with what you said is when I connect her with someone like Mortgage Savvy or what have you, me to show up at that appointment.
Of course, I want to introduce you. You make the introduction. I want to introduce you to Mike or Marie. She's a fantastic mortgage professional. She may have options you didn't hear yet. I want you to at least understand the differences, and I want to make sure that you at least have options.
That likely won't go on the mortgage side end up in Facebook meeting. If she won't meet you, she likely won't meet somebody you recommend. Yeah, and they work. If you're doing it, they do everything.
Yeah.
They have said though that they'll come to that fire consult.
They will, but I'm just saying, like, if you're having a hard enough time to get them in person,
She was a young lady. She was in her mid-20s. She just maybe, I don't know.
Have you asked her why she didn't use you? No. Call her back. Just say, hey, really, really happy for you. Just wanted to follow up and see why you didn't end up with me. I'm just learning for next time. It's a shitty, uncomfortable question to ask. You might not like the answer, but at least you'll know.
Yep. Or You could always have someone third party call for you from the office. Hey, just, heard you purchased a home, thought it was fantastic. Congratulations. We always want to know for our own knowledge, just curious, maybe having conversations, why didn't you use so-and-so and that kind of conversation. Maybe it's just we're doing a follow-up and see what they say. They might say something different to someone else than you.
Yeah.
It's always hard.
What I felt, and I had this with one other client, was he was so stubborn, and I almost got the feeling from her the same way that she, for whatever reason, thinks she could get a better deal going straight to the listing agent. That would turn out to a better deal. I had a guy with his family. He was 100% like, no, I deal directly with the agent that's listing the property to get a better deal. And I handled that objection every way I possibly could, but I've met people who have that perception.
So do you think she had that perception, just didn't say it?
I had that vibe from her because
Right.
the way she showed up at my open house willy-nilly by herself, and she had said she'd been going out on her own, and other agents have tried to talk to her, but she just, she likes to do her own thing. And so I slowly moved in there at first and then thought I had a good rapport going with her. But I guess, is it common for people to think that? Like they get a better
Yes.
deal working with
Yes. Yep. They think. So here's a way you drop that when you get that feeling, or in general, sometimes when you can't get that connection. If I said to you, and again, I say that I'm only asking you guys this because your market might be a little different than others, is if someone said that to you, for those who have maybe handled this objection, what would your answer be to that objection? They think they could get a better deal from a listing agent. Someone give me handle that objection.
I had that once on a property, and I told them, I said, listen, the listing agent's duty is to the seller. I said, their job 100%, all rights and duties are to get them max dollar. So at the end of the day, they don't owe you those same rights as a customer. So they might tell you they're giving you a deal, but you have no actual clue whether anything. They don't care about you. They're about getting the most of it. So.
Well, they think that a seller's agent would get them the most because they want both sides of it. So they'll do everything to block everybody else out because they get two sides. However, do you guys have? Is my microphone working okay? It sounds like it's noise.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Do you guys, when you take a listing, do you represent the seller, or do you have what we call a dual disclose, meaning you could represent the buyer, but you have to disclose you have both?
Yeah, we can. If we are representing the buyer as well, it needs to be made obvious to
You
both
can't ever
sides.
represent the buyer,
No,
they're
you-
the customer.
Yeah, you represent them to the level of a customer.
You can represent both.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Okay.
sign a, just have them sign a
But
multiple
it's a
representation.
customer, not a client, it can be client-client.
So if you're a listing agent, who's your legal obligation too if you have the buyer?
If you have,
No, it's customer client, right?
no, it's customer. It's client. As long as there's a consent section in VRA or in the confirmation of co-op that says you both consent to both being represented by the cooperating and listing broker. Yeah, they both have to sign that.
Okay. And something you might want to and I only say that for a couple of reasons, is, we have a similar scenario where we have a listing agent and they could represent the potential buyer walking in the door if they agree to being dual disclosed, meaning you work for both. But really, then who's your fiduciary responsibility? Really two. So I would always say, if I felt that way and I feel that they're going to think they can get a better deal from a listing agent, I would say something along the lines of, even just in conversation, I'll say, listen, while you're out there shopping and thinking about the process, I want you to understand one piece of advice I would always give any of my clients or even friends is that you find somebody to represent you specifically on the buy side. So many people think, and you make it sound like you're not talking to her, so many people think that if they go to a listing agent, they think they're going to save money, when in reality, no one's representing your best interest to negotiate the best deal. So just if you're out there and you're considering buying a home, make sure you find someone to represent your buying interest. And I'd be happy to do it if and when you're ready. But I would just prepare that in advance so they plant the seed of saying, oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And maybe they'd fuel some questions about that. Like, oh, well, wouldn't I get a better deal if I go to a seller? They might have just come out and say it. So I always like to plant it in conversation, let them think about that.
That was one of my thoughts. she's going somewhere else, but she refused to have me help her find another property. It's like, how do you
On the buy side,
on the buy side?
and you had the listing.
Like that specific property for that specific day, like she was so against helping her find house anywhere else.
I would have to just ask her and say, help me understand your process. I would just always say I usually represent buyers' best interest because I help negotiate the best deal for them on their behalf. Are you looking at working a different way with real estate agents? Help me understand what's the best for you. I would ask her, what is it you're looking for? Are you planning on working with an agent that's going to represent and negotiate the best for you? Or are you looking to work some other way that I'm unaware of? Like, I would just ask her. Because they may not even understand the process.
When's the last time you talked to her?
Text her this morning, waiting for her reply back, but that deal was like a week and a half ago.
We always just call her and say, hey, how's what you found it?
Yeah.
The other thing too is if people are locked into just the listing agent, it doesn't work out, but they're gonna lose the profit that they like. Right? Because they're focused on saving money with the listing. Like she like Bow Valley, I guess
That's the
one
house,
was,
yeah, it's
right?
got a near ravine lot, but we were 60 grand apart in the price and she refused to come up with it. Like a realtor. I think that they just think that they're smart enough to do it with everything.
Right. There's a lot of people who think they're super educated in this, and we know sometimes that they're not. So, I would just ask about how she intends on working with the purchase, and let her know, and I was always third party. I work with a lot of clients who don't realize how much a buyer representation can negotiate in a transaction. And sometimes, unfortunately, until it's too late. So would love to talk to you about how you're working in this process and share with you ways that I can help you negotiate your property so that we can get the best deal for you and get the property you want. So always tell through a third party story. Like, I work with other clients that do this, this, and this. Really, it's her scenario. But she needs to hear it so she can process it.
I try and leverage mine too with, just the fact that, there's little tricks that we can do outside of price that enable them to get the product, right? So like just by partnering with Mortgage Savvy, knowing our finances, just going through that whole process, those little back end tricks that, put us ahead of all those other buyers coming in without all that kind of in line. Right into the situations under list and not even with the greatest price, right? Just because the offer was just structured a lot better than everyone else.
Right. And how are some agents going to get you around the strategy when there's multiple offers?
How are they going to do that on their own? You know what I mean? So I think everything comes down to you can always win if you have something that's valuable.
That's right.
You say listen, I understand your thinking, I understand your fears about it, but this is the key. This is what's going to allow you to maybe spend less and still get the house you want, right?
Right. So that's where you got to put that little fear of the unknown of what they think they know, but they don't know. All right. Awful quiet from three of you there. So someone talk to me. Devin. Let's
I
go.
was away.
Mark.
My loss last week, honestly, was just figuring out a way to get back in the swing of things after just taking 10 days off. I was working really hard before I went away. My first vacation in a year. And I really made an effort to disconnect, which almost I feel like shot me in the foot because now it took me 4 days really just kind of like treading water and not really getting anywhere. So I actually had a really great meeting this morning with Amy.
Okay.
Just reset my goals and kind of broke things down like almost task by task as to how to get back to where I was before. And I feel much better, but it was almost like coming back from vacation feeling super relaxed, and I got like anxious because I wasn't working, and then it just kind of like I'm an all or nothing person. It's like I work all the time or I don't, and it's to get back to working hard was really, really tough for me.
Awesome. It is a challenge, and that's half the battle why we don't take vacation sometimes is that fear of missing out on that, which stinks. But there's also that mental state of you just trying to get back in the groove. So obviously, did you come up with a plan that's going to map you the next couple of weeks to better productivity or?
Yeah, like down to like afternoon, morning, Monday to Friday, everything. Yeah, like and weekends and everything.
Do you mind sharing some of those things you're going to be doing?
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's mindset based. So podcast a day, reading a day, exercise a day, and then at base it's 20 contacts obviously, and then open houses Saturday, Sunday, or that time spent lead generating.
Good.
Just in reference to your conversation earlier, I actually joined a ladies golf league. That is a GTA, yeah. So it's literally based, I actually did it, obviously I love to golf, but also networking, because I heard someone said that you said seven
streams.
and I thought about that in a way that I found a really great inexpensive golf league. So it's all around Toronto, and so that'll be kind of something cool for me to do. So that's one thing that I've checked off that list. So just kind of getting in the swing of that, and 20 contacts a day, 5 follow-up copies with previous clients, and 3 buyer consults.
Right. You watch your golf league blow up in a year. It's going to be amazing. The connections you make through that. And it's not a place you're going to hit and run. You spend time at the, if there's a little bar afterwards or a place to grab a snack afterwards and connect. And most likely people won't even know you're in real estate initially. Yeah. Once they get to know you and like you, and that trigger then is you're in real estate, you watch the magnet you become to that. I'm kind
of doing it strategically too. Like it's a little bit of I'm very few and far between with how many people at 28 years old, females, like to golf. So I know I'm probably going to be hanging out with a lot of 50 to 70 year olds, which honestly though, but my thing is like not necessarily targeting them, but maybe targeting their children who are my age, which is actually the business.
You're going to find it coming from all angles when you get.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of like strategically, yes, of course, 50, 70 year olds downsizing, whatever, they have lots of money, but also their children, referrals.
It also helps that you look suck at home.
Yes, true.
And at the
if you sell houses like you golf, fuck you.
It's one of the best things. Like to me, that's like one of the best streams you're going to find in your business. And you know what? You're going to have a little fun and some downtime and have some. It's going to be just part of your, a little bit of stress, relief too, and getting out there and doing your thing. So it is a great combo.
And then I won't need to take 10 days off to go golfing in California.
Well, look, when you book some of your business too, and you start to enhance some of that, you still need to take your time. Maybe not 10 days, maybe you do a little smaller, so there's not as big gap. But look, everyone has to have something you strive for in your life, or all of this work is not worth anything. It's really not. Working ourselves to death doesn't help. So really good. I'm glad. And you met with Amy. Was it today?
Yeah, this morning we had a great meeting this morning.
I didn't know she was actually meeting people yet. So
yeah, it was. I think she knew I was kind of like floating away, so she needed to.
Yeah, have a little chat this morning. I will chat with her a little bit later today, so it's good. Okay, cool. Well, I like the direction. So head mindset. 90% of the business is between your ears. You know that. It's you come in ready to go. You work. You get productive. You don't.
Yeah.
So cool. Mark, what's happening?
So I'll start with my losses. Just didn't put as much effort as I did the week before into my calls. Cold calling. Usually I like to block 3 hours a day to do that, and I kind of blocked that this week. It kind of led to some of my wins, which is now I'm starting to do appointments, starting to show properties. So I think it's now the next learning curve for me is just to jump into
Just my thoughts here in that 3 hours is a long time to block for calls. Okay. Look, I mean, if you could really be productive in those 3 hours, awesome. But it sounds like to me, like after about an hour, I'd be kind of cooking. Like I'd be like, oh, I gotta take a breather, go do something else. Maybe dissect them up into some smaller portions. Maybe just compact it a little bit more. 3 hours is a long time to.
So my background is that I used to do I used to work with a collection agency for the student loans, and I would do probably 12 hours a day. So
of phone calls
of just and you're walking into students who are already eating crap dinner and saying, hey, you owe $100 because you've already missed payments. So I'm not the nicest of guys when I'm calling these people. So I've learned to grow a thick skin, and I also think that doing a quarter of that is a walk in the park compared to doing 12 hours.
Okay, so for 3 hours, who are you calling?
Leads. So I have the luck of having people that I dealt with, worked with, and just having contacts from new homes that I've done before. So this is an opportunity for me to advise or let everyone know that my business is expanding from just new homes to both new and resale. So I can handle any angle of real estate that they're looking into.
Do you ask them a question that gives an open answer?
Actually, Cody was great enough to went out for a coffee the other day and just made a suggestion in questioning people, asking them what their real estate plans for the year, and that really changed things night and day.
Yep.
So really effective. It gave people an opportunity to open up and speak to me, and I was able to gain more appointments that way.
Okay. And can I throw one more in the mix? Because I think that's a really great question. And I think that's more in the front end a little bit too. Like, hey, so what are some of your real estate? Maybe after that, in general, this is for everybody, but whether you're in person or on the phone sometimes, even if you're parting ways with them and, hey, listen, really appreciate you spending a few minutes. If you don't mind me asking, and I always preface it, if you don't mind me asking, just one last quick, who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell then? Since you're not really ready to go, who do you know? Because when I watch people in person, that's one that worked for me a lot, is you literally, when you say to somebody, who do you know? And I'm watching you, their eyes literally go up like they're thinking, and they're like, you almost like you make them think a second. So who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell? I would really love if you came across somebody to think about to possibly refer my way. But, in the meantime, it was great chatting with you, and you can kind of go that direction. But give them a few seconds to pause and think. Might get that last part of that conversation, like, oh, you know what? My neighbor or whatever I was at the club with was talking about something. I would love a recommendation, at least have a conversation with him, just informal, and then play it down.
So I think that's really effective because I've been trying to throw that in, but it hasn't worked. So taking this new angle, more appointments and sales.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's got to get into your own flow of words. It's got to come out your way. It's not.
I take the scripts and I sort of improvise it to what would come out of my mouth naturally versus what's written down.
Right.
So it's how I would talk to someone.
That's right. You want to keep it just in a question format to get them to give you some kind of a thought or an answer versus a yes or no. That's all. And you've come from that background of those types of calls too, so it's just shifting the paradise. All right, cool. Who else has something to share with me? Who else? Look at the look.
I'm going to get my license today.
Wait, you're going to get your license? Did you take your test?
You passed the last exam like 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So is it actually in yet? Because I know we were waiting, right?
Yeah,
it's in.
I'm trying today to get it.
All right, good. So let's say you get it today. You got it today. What do you do tomorrow?
No, it was actually going to be later today. I have a few people who have been asking about certain properties in a specific area and what they're selling for, because people on the team have been helping me send out properties that did sell, and just kind of painting a picture for these folks on list price versus reality or what it actually sold for. So it's just, I think that would be my first thing, is taking these 2 or 3 people that have been specifically asking about specific houses in a specific area and putting together one of those, 10 recently sold homes in that neighborhood, type of informative email somehow.
Okay. And this is going to be full-time for you, straight on board to get your license in, or is there something else in the mix?
I'm also a barista at Starbucks.
Awesome. Great place to network.
Full time.
Oh.
Dude, that is a networking haven.
I know. I should try.
And I was like, wow, I've never known that this whole time.
It's like, wow.
Well, you have these conversations. So you can't be creeping up on his network in that Starbucks. You got to find your own Starbucks to network at. Don't be creeping his potential customers in line. I don't know how many rules Starbucks has, but how can you let people, without infringing upon that role, how could you let people at Starbucks know that you're in the real estate business?
Seriously. He was joking.
Jeez.
He's not actually a barista.
Yeah, I'm not a barista.
It is a
What else are you gonna do? Is there any other full time in the works though? Seriously,
Pardon?
is real estate gonna be your full time?
Yes, yes.
So everyone take out. Where do you keep your calendars? In your phone?
Laptop.
Okay. Open them up real quick, just for fun. Wherever your calendar is.
Oh, 3% battery. My battery's working.
So what's today? Today is Monday. Excuse me one sec. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So just pick tomorrow. How many gaps are in your calendar tomorrow? Truth.
One.
What time?
From 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Cool. So look at your gaps.
I got one from 4 to 5, but I'll be driving home.
Okay. Everything else is booked with, so when you're looking at it, first of all, who else has gaps in their calendar?
I've got gaps.
I do for sure.
There's usually always gaps. And you heard my story on this already. Let's find something to fill it in with. Fill it in with something. Fill it in with what's going to make me more money, what's going to create some more leads, what can I do to find more people to talk to? Because I burn through those. When I have my calendar, that 2-hour gap from 3 to 5, Dev, would be, I'd be doing stupid crap, to be honest. I'd be on the web, I'd be emailing and checking, and it would be not productive. That's one of my weaknesses. The only way I can correct that weakness is by filling it in with something. Stuff may pop up because it's easy to find 2 hours of stuff to do. But what's that 1 hour? What can I do to make money during that hour? That's a gap. And then think about it. If you looked at Wednesday, looked at Thursday, things going to come up. I got an appointment. Oh, hey, I'm available from 3 to 5 and you want to go show a house. Fine, productive. But find something to fill in those gaps, especially for those that have more than 1 or 2 hours. You may have some super really busy days, like the ones that you have 1 hour and you're driving home. The other 7 hours, are they really productive things, or are they things that are just kind of like appointments?
Yeah, appointments, showings, walking the dog twice, getting my kids to daycare, and an hour of lead gen, and that's my entire day.
Okay. So getting the kids to daycare, I can absolutely 100% relate to. Does that network of people know you're in the biz really well?
Yeah, we're lucky. Her name's Fatima. She's a Portuguese lady that watches the kids, but it's not really, I don't know.
Okay, so not like a, so I'm just trying to think of opportunities in that day as you could fill. So always look ahead and say, okay, what about Wednesday? What about Thursday? What about Friday? Find some of those gaps and fill in your gaps with something productive.
Well, one for me that I wanted to fill in the gaps that I have is making a Kijiji ad for listings. For my listing. The listing is something I haven't done at all, period.
Good.
My husband had an awesome home run come from a Kijiji ad a little while ago.
Good.
That doesn't take more than an hour to throw up a couple Kijiji ads and get them up there. And that's
Block
something you're doing to make money.
Good.
So it's definitely a productive thing you can squeeze in, right?
And you block it. Then you do, even if you had a half hour to get one in or done, block it. The empty space is the killer to productivity. Truth. And it may not be just maybe tomorrow you are stacked. Awesome. Wednesday, maybe you got a 2-hour window. Friday, you got a 3-hour window. Maybe it's I get up earlier and find people to have breakfast with. There's only so much time in a day. But empty gaps in your calendar are lost revenue. So it's a struggle, and it may be those pain points you don't want to do, but find something to do. Even if it is take a walk and sit and work in the Starbucks, to work for an hour from there with some branding on me so I can maybe run into somebody and or get some work done at the same time. Those things matter versus truth. What's the real truth? If you have, like Dev, we didn't talk about 3 to 5 tomorrow, like what would you do? 3 o'clock comes around tomorrow. What do you probably have stuff, but.
The a very good question.
right? So, and I'm sure like as your day goes on, there'll always be some kind of crap to follow up on.
Yeah, but like you're right, like to have an actual.
Right. But look, if at 2:00 someone says, I want to see a $800,000 home at 4:30, go. That's productive. But that I know that 3 to 5, if that was my dead time, I wouldn't make money during that time. And I'm just sharing my weaknesses that I've had to learn from, that the only way for me to fill it is put something in there. Then if I'm really on a roll, nothing will replace that productive time unless it's more productive. The busy stuff, they follow up email. I can follow up email later or unless it's urgent. But having it blank, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
So let's work on our calendars for, in general. You see an empty space, you're losing money. Just think of it that way. It's lost money. And put something in there that will actually be revenue generating and make that part of the game. It's kind of the challenge I focus on with people is that empty space. All right. If you're stuck, I got plenty of stuff we can do, but I want it to be something that's going to help put more money in your pockets and just get your business to where you can take that week vacation, not even think about the biz. Like, just money's good. The production's there. I'm going to prep a little better before I go. Someone's going to help me while I'm away. That kind of stuff. We learn. It's part of the process. I just got done talking to a team that's probably twice your ages, in the business 30 years. They got more business than they can handle, but they're burning out. They're burning out, like drastically in weeks burning out. And it's just a different problem. The good news is their problem's on this side of the fence. They have too much business. The problem is they need the help of people to support their volume, or they'll never get a day off in their life. They'll burn out before when you burn out, and this is the opposite extreme, when they burn out, what do they have next? They're twice your age. They've burnt out. They don't want to work anymore. What happens? They're done. So you got to prevent burnout. In this case, we got to fill the pipeline more so we can do more things we really want to do. Has cash flow ever been a thing you've turned away? Oh, I don't need any more cash flow. I'm good. No. We take cash flow. Cash flow cures other problems. It's not the answer to them, but it helps fix some other stuff. Like I can go do some other things on a weekday. So when I'm busy on a weekend, I don't feel as guilty working all weekend. I can go to play more golf or whatever it might be, or play more. Those are things that cures. So we've got to get to that side of the problem first. That problem is going to get solved by you, all of you, finding more production coming from your resources in addition to the teams. The team's the foundation. It's being built and growing. It's going to have bumps. It will. Growing pains, of course. But that's a core foundation. I can't see being a solo practitioner in this real estate business ever. It makes no sense in this world of online, offline, on demand, trying to serve every person every 24 hours a day. To me, the only way to build a business is a team. The only way. But that's the foundation though. You add to the foundation as much production as you want. That comes from you. All right. Any major concerns on your plate you want to throw at me that we didn't touch on today, or something just, hey, it's bothering me, I want to talk about it, or besides?
Nothing bothering me. Just I have a listing. It's about an hour drive away in a different place. It's about an hour drive down the road to get there.
Yep.
Things aren't flying off the shelf there in general, and it's been up for a week, maybe 8-9 days.
Okay.
He's calling me right now. He calls me times a day, every single day. I'm just thinking like maybe I'm not utilizing, like I'm not prospecting it hard enough. I'm not hitting the neighbor. I'm not doing certain activities that you should do when you have a good listing like this. It's listed at 848. It's a detached home. It's like my first big listing. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like when I'm making my calendar this week, should I be driving out there daily, hitting the neighborhood? Should I put together 2 or 3 days, or should I be mojo dialing the neighborhood and cold calling? Should I be, that's what my kind of stresses about this week.
Okay, no, that's a fair. An hour away is a tough. I've had that position, and so a couple things I have to ask is when someone calls and wants to see it, are you running out there for the one appointment, or are you going to just try and stack in? Hey, let's see if we can get you to the weekend. Running back and forth is a lot of time killing.
Yeah, anybody that's called to go see it, it's an agent calling that has somebody that wants to see it, so I don't need to be there.
Okay, so you want to generate your own. So first of all, really, is it priced properly?
Yeah, things seem to be moving around 835, 840 in like 2-3 weeks. This is priced out of 848 with some upgrades in comparison to the others.
Have they had showings?
Had about 5.
Any
Five
feedback?
showings. We only did one open house the first weekend, but we could only get it live. Like we had to rush to get it up, and so I didn't really have a chance to like really create a neighborhood buzz to blast that open house out of the mark. Like just
Okay.
I think I had 3 groups Saturday and 4 groups Sunday.
Any feedback from them?
Yeah, but just irrelevant stuff like they're looking for a bigger basement apartment to live in and rent out the top, or this, that, and the other thing. No feedback that's really helping.
Yeah, I wouldn't plan on running out there daily. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You can get more done. I mean, not saying you shouldn't go out there on once a week or so for some marketing and prospecting.
It's new. It's new for me to have this now. I was getting a little nervous this morning, thinking that maybe I'm not doing the proper activities that you should do, that I should be doing. So not drive out there every day, like we mentioned.
No, not because now you're killing other productive time from the other business. I mean, not that that's not important, but 3 more listings would definitely be better if you working on than chasing this one back and forth. I understand you want to get it sold, cash flow helps, but if I was going to do a Sunday open house, I would take that Sunday to do the open house and maybe prospect 3 hours before that around the open house. I'm out there at the same time. I give them a reason to come see me and talk to me. I do that one day and not necessarily chasing, because during a week, it's who knows who's home, not home. I don't know where else normally you would market things. So your feedback in the group here, where else could he be putting it that's gotten great responses?
I thought of like going to local coffee shops that have bulletin boards, like local businesses.
That would be your Kijiji.
So is that your Kijiji listing we're talking about? Where else is there a place to put it that it may not be? So when you guys get listings, where do they go? Anybody answer?
MLS.
MLS? Where else? Facebook?
Social. Yeah, it goes through IG too, Instagram.
Instagram?
I mean, it hits most of the social stuff, right?
Kijiji, right? So getting those out there, I would make sure that it was, shared, on social in a way that, hey, looking for a great buyer on this great new home, blah, blah, blah. Getting social done and Kijiji seems like the other options. I would just get them sooner than later. That'd be a priority of mine. And then when you do the next open house is the prospecting that day. That I would do.
Okay.
But other than that, what's he calling you with? Anxiety of what's going on?
It just now all of a sudden we're besties, and he just wants to know, any feedback from the last person who came to see it. What did they say? What did that house sell for on the corner?
Okay.
Yeah, just question 100 times a day.
Where's he buying? Where's he going to buy?
He's going to end up renting for a year.
Okay.
And then buying from there.
Got it. Okay. I would just ask your teammates around you if there was other options that I might not be aware of, but I think you get those social and the Kijiji done ASAP and then plan ahead for another 2 weeks out or whatever it is to promote the open house or whatever day you want to do it on and do a big promotion around it. And then prospect the day of. Okay, but let's keep updated on that. Let's see how it goes. Don't make him make you nuts, though. Try and set some boundaries. Be nice with him, but 20 times a day I'll make you crazy.
Yeah. I know him that, but he calls all day long.
Or if he calls you, just say, "Hey John, I'm in an appointment. I'll call you back in 2.5 hours when I'm done."
Yeah, I'm out with buyers showing some homes. I'll keep you posted in a little bit. I'll get back to you around 4 or 5, just to break up your day a little bit. Make it, you're busy. You're with some buyers and with some clients, but not to ignore his calls, but to minimize them a little bit. Let's scale them down to 2 conversations instead of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, guys, listen, I'm around by email if you have any questions or thoughts, stuff you want to share. I have a chat with Amy today too, so see how she's doing. So I'm excited to talk to her. But other than that, you guys look great. Just keep plugging away. Remember, focus on things you guys need to do, even if they're uncomfortable. All right, y'all.
Thanks, Jeff.
See you guys. Good seeing you.
Bye.
See ya.
I think a question to ask yourself too.